Hey folks, welcome to Kaisers Kastle. Take a seat on my big orange couch, relax, grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, chill out, maybe grab some adult libation. It's a little early in the morning, but enjoy. I'm here to talk today a little bit about what I like to call Boomer Follies and also the follies of youth. First off, I'm a Gen Xer. So hey, how's it going, Val? I was raised by a boomer, and she was awesome. She made me who I am today, along with many mentors who were boomers. And the sad part is that it gets lost, that that generation, while some went down the hippie trail, and maybe even some of them experienced it, but they ended up coming around. And what they said in public, which is not good, do not think I'm justifying it. What they said in public was not what they said in the house. And when people, the Gen Xers and whatnot, or not the Gen Xers, because I am one, but the millennials, the Gen Zs, when you have children, your responsibility is to build a good child and to build a good relationship, a marriage, hopefully. And so the point is that they're a blank slate. So do you want to openly indoctrinate? Well, no. But you also have to have it's an agreement. You have to have this agreement with the government that they're not going to try to indoctrinate. That's where it failed. And it also failed because the boomers allowed communism, cultural Marxism, to infect education. So even if the parents are raising the child right, the government steps in and fucks it all up. Okay? Now, I was fortunate that if something went on with me or my twin sister, our mother was down there at the school instantly to find out what went on. And I was the same way with my son. And I'd be the same way with anybody, who I knew back in the day. When my son was going through school, his friends or whatever. At least talking to their parents and saying, look, let's find out what's really going on. Because you got to understand, this is why we have a problem here now. Is that the adults in the room did not intervene when the indoctrination was taking place. So that's why I say Boomer Follies. And I'm including, hey, look, my generation is just as much to blame. But fortunately, I had great mentors, and I've mentored great young men. And mentoring, if you've listened to my video, or my podcast, whatever you want to call it, on it, you know exactly where I'm coming from. I don't hide my thoughts. I don't try to tell you this, that, or the other that I'm not going to practice. But what I will say is there's a reality to things. And that reality is simple. When you are dealing with certain things, publicly, the face you have to have is to be very steady and mellow. There's a time not to be mellow, but it takes seasoning. What I mean by that, and this is where I go to the folly of youth. Look, I was a young man too. Don't think you think you're special, because I also believed I was twisted steel, bulletproof, and sex appeal, and I was immortal. You couldn't do anything to me. And didn't give a crap. That's what a young man does. That's what makes you special. That is what it's about. It's about living your life. It's about finding a wife. It's also about making your way. Never letting somebody put you down. Never letting somebody play around with you. Like, oh, no, you're not good enough because you're not this, you're not that, or you are this or that. And I'm talking now about white privilege, all that garbage that you see with cultural Marxism, or that you have a dick instead of a pussy. No, that's all bullshit. Okay? Women have their ways, and they're special for that. No man that I know can successfully raise a child all by themselves. But guess what? That woman has that ability to multitask. You know, feed the baby while she's cooking food, or while she's even at work. You know, going to the bathroom, whatever that she has to feed the baby at. These things are real. You know, men just don't, our minds aren't made that way. That's why there's 2 sexes, not 72. You know, everybody can dream what they want to dream, but there still are some natural realities. The brains are not wired the same, nor are the hormones. That's why these third wave feminists are getting exactly what they deserve. The athletes, look, I have no problem with feminism as long as the feminism is kept like it was when my mother was around. You know what that was? Women were able to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. That's okay. There should never be an issue with a woman trying to excel at whatever she wants to do. Whether she wants to raise a family, be a career woman. The only sad thing is, those women that choose that it's only going to be the career, well, they'll never experience the joy of childbirth or raising their children and passing their genes on with somebody that they love. And I don't care if it's not with that same person you love, as long as it's with the genetic code of somebody that you admire or whatever. Spit babies don't live, and 2 men can't make a baby. It's just not going to happen. It's just not a reality yet. I'm sure the twisted scientific method that, yes, indeed, us the boomers and the Gen Xers like me have allowed science to even get out of control. And I can go in depth on Wi-Fi and all that garbage, but this is something I wanted to say, and it's not an apology to the youth. It's a realization that I know exactly when this started and how it happened. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you blame us because you know this, that, and the other, and it was a small portion. No. There was a reason they used to call it the silent majority under Reagan. And it's because they were silent, but they were a majority. And guess what? None of them rang the alarm bell on the boomer side, nor on the Gen X side, because honestly, the numbers weren't there. They weren't, the 65 Act had not reached its zenith. It wasn't until what you saw with, when people started to really wake up, and then it got quickly co-opted. Everything that's decent gets quickly co-opted. To believe me on this. One way or the other, it's going to get co-opted. And the Tea Party got co-opted. That's about the time everybody realized we actually have a Marxist president. Not really a Marxist. I give him too much credit. A Maoist president and that president's wife. And that would be Obabala. You know, I'll never say his name or give him the title. He didn't deserve it, and I have no idea. And this I also fault on my generation and the generation before. I have no idea how anybody in his administration ever got a security clearance with their back history. We can go to Clapper. We can go to everybody that he had in all their Marxist ties, all their communist ties, all their Islamic ties, and somehow they were still able to get the same security clearance or above mine, that they went up through my ass with a microscope to make sure they could trust me with secrets or whatever. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, but there was an awakening. It was co-opted in about 2 years. The same thing is with this QAnon garbage. Look, stick to the plan. Oh, do this, do that. Don't worry. It's going as planned. Guess what? They actually started out halfway decent. But about 9 months ago, they were completely co-opted. So all the Q-bots out there, hate to ruin your dreams, hate to crap on your parade, hate to actually tell you the truth, but you've been being lied to for about 9 months. And every time you push that narrative of, oh, Q says, and remember, Q did not start out as one person. It was a bunch of people that had the passcode to go in and write something as a question. And if you noticed, about 9 months ago, there were people in there that were writing it not as a question, but giving the answers. And guess what? Those people aren't on it anymore. See what I mean? Because they were relying on you to come up on the correct answer when how can you? You don't know what the hell they know. All right? These are facts. Now, that being said, the youth are the future. And they need to be the future. That's why we have babies, to carry on the family lines, to do what needs to be done in the future, because sometimes those things are not easy and they're just stuff we don't do. Okay? Maybe for whatever reason, whatever reason you want to come up with, they just didn't do it. And so it's time for the youth to pick up the mantle and kind of run with it. Try to figure out what's going on. Try to make things happen and right the ship of state, capital S, state. So my thought process is fairly easy. It's not hard. Realize that you're the future. Also realize that your generation, unfortunately, because of the lack of action of the boomers and Gen X, have raised two types of children. Children that work, that understand the nation. When you have Facebook now calling the Declaration of Independence a hate speech document and banning people for posting it, I posted it on my page. I don't care. I've been banned before. Ban me again. They can take it all off. I don't give a crap. A matter of fact, all this social media, I don't give a crap. But here's the thing. Don't hem yourself and jim yourself up with getting pigeonholed into one thing. And I mean that. Because the only way you can right the ship is to get involved in the ship. You're now seeing with the deep state, which is nothing more than the SES, the Special Executive Service of the federal government. What you're seeing now of the United States, I have to be clear because I do have people from other countries that come to my page. What you have with that service going on right now are a bunch of people that's been in a government in excess of 30 years. And they're almost unfireable. Takes a presidential or congressional act to fire them. Think about that, folks. Kind of bizarre, isn't it? Kind of bizarre that unelected, unaccountable people are able to basically destroy your life if they want to. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Well, hey, youth, start your service. Do what you have to do. Find good mentors. I mean this. If your parents fell down on the job, if you look, there's an old saying. My saying is, if you look, you'll find. But that and our house's saying is, we will stand. There's an old saying that was, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Have your eyes open. Find that person to give you some advice. You know, you got to think of a mentor as a rudder. When you start to go off course, they'll give you advice. You can take it or not. And then when the ramifications come good or bad, it's kind of like a military after action report. They're going to tell you, hey, what do you think about that? If they're proper, what do you think of the ramifications for that action? What do you think about where it puts you today? These are the kind of questions that need to happen, but it has to be on a one-on-one. That's why I told people in the military when I came up, we actually had mentoring where somebody stuck with you to give you all the knowledge they had for you to make the next rank and take their job. And then you would always be playing to go to the next level. And that is the point. But you cannot do it in mass. When they start having these group things and telling you, oh, that's indoctrination. Because you have to have that one-on-one ability. I was talking to a sergeant major in Afghanistan this last trip. And he got it. But most NCOs, when you tell them, oh, well, we have NCO hours, we do this, we do that. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't really work that way. Because they're not paying attention. You don't have buy-in with that person. You never explained what the rules of the game were to them. See where I'm going with this? It's about human relationships. We can all say that we know each other through the interwebs or whatever, right? And to a point we do. But everybody puts their best face forward. Even the trolls. Look at some of their names. They put their best face forward. They're coming out and they're doing the thing and saying the things they want to do. Is that an issue? Nah. It's what they want to do. See, the difference is when you start thinking about things. And if you think about this and if you find it of value, please feel free. Use any. Look, advice is exactly worth what you paid for it. And you paid nothing. And nor is this like a thing saying, send me money. No, that's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying is all advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. That's why when my son said, well, I think I want to go to college and do this, I was like, cool. Have fun, you know. Glad you're going to pay for it. The thing is, my son knows everything that I have, he gets when I croak. And it's not like we're going out there spending every dime. That was a problem. Look, you have to understand what the 80s were. It was about fast fashion. It was about, you know, it was really all about materialism. And that was a problem too. And thanks, Val. I appreciate that. It was about materialism, and that's where it went sideways. Please, that's the one thing I'll say that I do see hope with millennials and with Gen Zers that are actually woke up. Generation, Z. We all have the euphemisms for Gen Z, but, it is what it is, gentlemen and ladies. We all know if you're hip. But the interesting thing is you're woke up, but they don't want the vast majority of you woken up. And that's why Marxism is now all the rage, and so is communism, socialism. You have to push back. I pushed back. What good did it do? I don't know. Maybe nothing. But at least I stood. And that's what you have to do. And honestly, that's kind of the point of this little thing. I was listening to something on YouTube, and I was like, I got to make a quick show. And of course, I'm going to go in more depth. I will. I run at my jibs a little too much. But I'm not ever going to purposefully lie to you. And I'm not going to try to deceive. Those who know me know this. And but what I will do is make sure that I communicate on this channel, because this channel, while you may get something for it, it is a time capsule. I've said this before. So when my son and his wife have children, and maybe I'm not around, they get to hear their insane grandfather or Opa tell them what went down and how it happened. With that being said, thanks a lot. Hopefully you guys like and comment. I enjoy commenting back to you. I try to make this as interactive as I can. I had somebody ask me, why don't I do video? Well, I don't know how. Once it went to Microsoft 10, they lost me. It's almost like using Apple products after using Microsoft all my life. So that's why you get my OBS the way it is. I'm not going to make excuses. If I can figure it out, I'll figure it out and I'll start doing video. The hip people know where my video channel was, and that was done by a camera, never by a computer, and I just slid that card right in there and downloaded it. But this live thing, I like it a lot more. I at least can give you some music. And of course, always, my music is from Axion Ghost. And the links are in the description. Anytime I do something, the link is in the description. Please go over, check his channel out, like, and share. And we are going to make America great again. And we will keep America great. That's a fact. Nobody's going to stop this. This train, fortunately, and I mean this train has already got the momentum, and you can call it the Trump train, whatever. But the right way of thinking's out there, and you are the source of making it happen. And never forget that. Don't ever let anybody dissuade you that your purpose is lost. Your purpose has no meaning. Your purpose is to live a great life, have memories, and enjoy this small time you have on this mortal coil. With that being said, much love. Thanks for stopping by Kaisers Kastle. Shove out.